The alarm went off at exactly 6:15 a.m., as it did every morning. The single dad groaned but quickly swung his legs out of bed, trying to ignore the growing pile of emails waiting for him on his phone. Today was another busy day filled with back-to-back meetings, contract negotiations, and conference calls. But before all that, he had his first and most important job of the day: getting his daughter ready for daycare. His daughter, Lily, was 4 years old, full of energy, and always ready to challenge him with her endless questions. She was small for her age, but had a spark in her eyes that could light up a room. She loved painting, playing pretend, and singing little songs she made up on her own. But mornings were always rushed, especially for a father who balanced running a growing company and raising a child on his own. He hurried into the kitchen, while Lily sat at the small wooden table, rubbing her sleepy eyes. Breakfast had to be quick, and he often found himself making the same things: toast, scrambled eggs, and sometimes fruit. Today, he opted for a peanut butter sandwich for Lily, figuring it would be enough to keep her full until lunch. He spread the peanut butter while simultaneously checking emails, mentally going over his schedule for the day. Meetings at 9, a pitch at 11, a call with investors at 2, and a strategy session in the afternoon. He mentally ticked each one off while Lily fidgeted in her chair, swinging her little legs back and forth. "Daddy, can we read a story after breakfast?" Lily asked, her small hand resting on his arm as she looked up at him with pleading eyes. "Not today, sweetheart," he said gently, trying to hide the stress creeping into his voice. "I have a lot to do today, but I promise we'll read tonight before bed." Lily pouted but nodded, knowing that when her father said he would do something, he always kept his word. The clock was ticking, and they had to leave soon. He quickly packed her backpack with her favorite snacks, a small toy, and a spare change of clothes. He double-checked everything, a habit formed from years of trying to be organized in a life that was often chaotic. They stepped out into the crisp morning air. Lily held his hand tightly as they walked to the car. She loved these little walks, even if they were short. He started the car and quickly buckled her in, glancing at the rearview mirror to make sure she was comfortable. She waved at the neighbor who was walking her dog, and he waved back distractedly as he focused on the road ahead. In his rush and mental preoccupation with the day ahead, he made a mistake that would change the course of the morning. He drove past the usual daycare without realizing it, thinking he was on the correct street. He pulled into a small, colorful building a few blocks down, believing it was the right place. Lily squirmed in her seat. "Daddy, this isn't my daycare," she said quietly, a hint of worry in her voice. "It's fine." "Lily, we're just trying a new place today," he said quickly, hoping she wouldn't notice the uncertainty in his own voice. He parked and walked her inside. The building was cheerful, with walls painted in bright colors and drawings hung up everywhere. A few children played on the floor, and a woman behind the counter smiled warmly at them. She had kind eyes, and her presence immediately made Lily feel a little more at ease. "Good morning. You must be Lily. Come in, we're so happy to see you," the woman said, bending down to Lily's level. She had a soft voice and a gentle demeanor that instantly made Lily relax. She introduced herself as the daycare supervisor. Though he didn't pay much attention, his mind was already racing, thinking about the emails he hadn't responded to in the meeting he had in 30 minutes. Lily clung to his hand for a moment, but then allowed herself to be led to a play area where other children were playing with blocks and dolls. He knelt down for a quick hug. "Have a great day, Lily. I'll be back soon," he said, smiling as best he could. She waved, and he waved back, giving her one last squeeze before heading out the door. Once in the car, he finally allowed himself to exhale. The morning was moving faster than he could keep up with, and he felt the familiar pang of guilt that always came when he rushed Lily. He checked his watch and muttered to himself, realizing he was going to be late for his first meeting. He drove off, completely unaware that he had dropped her at the wrong daycare. Meanwhile, inside the daycare, Lily was exploring. She was shy at first, watching the other children from a distance, but the woman with kind eyes noticed her hesitation and approached gently. "Hi, Lily. My name is Hannah. Would you like to play with me?" she asked, kneeling down and holding out a hand. Lily nodded slowly, a small smile forming on her face. Hannah guided her to a table with coloring books and crayons, and soon Lily was absorbed in creating colorful drawings. Hannah watched quietly, giving her space but staying close enough to offer comfort whenever Lily looked up. Back at the office, the father was already immersed in his work. Emails were piling up, calls were coming in, and he barely had a moment to think. He prided himself on being efficient and handling stress well, but today he felt a little off balance. Something in the back of his mind nudged at him, a small voice reminding him that he might have made a mistake with Lily this morning, but he pushed it aside, convincing himself that everything was fine. Hours passed. At the daycare, Lily had started to make friends. She laughed when another child shared a toy with her, and Hannah encouraged her gently, making sure she felt included. Lily's curiosity and imagination blossomed in this new environment, and Hannah noticed how bright and clever she was. It was easy to see why her father was so attentive and careful. In the afternoon, the father's phone rang. It was the regular daycare. "We haven't seen Lily today. Is everything okay?" the receptionist asked. A wave of panic washed over him. "What do you mean?" "I dropped her off this morning," he said, his voice rising with concern. After a few moments of back and forth, the realization hit him like a punch to the gut. He had made a mistake. He had sent Lily to the wrong daycare. He thanked the receptionist and raced out of the office, calling Hannah as he drove. She answered, calm and reassuring. Lily was safe, happy, and doing well. The father felt a mix of relief and embarrassment. He had been so wrapped up in his work that he hadn't noticed the mistake until it could have caused real panic. When he arrived, he was greeted by Hannah, who had a calm, understanding smile. Lily ran into his arms, laughing and full of energy. He hugged her tightly, apologizing for the mistake. "It's okay, Daddy," Lily said, patting his back. "I had fun today." Hannah introduced herself properly, and the father finally took the time to notice her kindness, patience, and warmth. There was something different about her, something that made him pause and take a deep breath. She had handled the situation perfectly, and in that moment he realized there was more to life than schedules and meetings. There was care, connection, and compassion, things he hadn't allowed himself to fully appreciate. As they left the daycare, the father glanced back at Hannah, a small smile forming. He didn't know it yet, but this accidental morning would change more than just their day. It would change their lives. And Lily, blissfully unaware of the adult worries swirling around her, held his hand tightly, smiling and ready for the adventures ahead. The morning mistake had turned into a small blessing, a gentle reminder that sometimes life had a way of pushing you exactly where you needed to be, even when you thought you were headed somewhere else entirely. And for the father, that realization was just the beginning of something he never expected. Lily spent the morning exploring the new daycare, a world full of colors, toys, and laughter. At first, she had stayed close to the small table near the window, quietly watching the other children build towers with blocks and line up toy cars. The room was bright, filled with sunlight streaming through the large windows, making every corner seem cheerful and welcoming. She was shy, unsure of these new faces, but the woman who had greeted her, Hannah, had a way of making her feel safe. Hannah noticed Lily's hesitation immediately. She had worked with children for years and could read their emotions easily. She crouched down to Lily's level and smiled softly, her eyes warm and kind. "Hi, Lily, I'm so glad you're here. Do you want to play with me?" Hannah asked gently, holding out a hand. Lily blinked, unsure, but something about Hannah's calm and gentle voice made her feel at ease. She nodded and took the hand offered, allowing herself to be guided to a small table filled with coloring books, crayons, and stickers. Hannah sat beside her and handed her a box of crayons, letting Lily pick her favorites. Soon Lily was drawing shapes and flowers, her little hands moving quickly as she added colors to the page. Across the room, other children began to notice her. A boy with curly hair offered her a red car, and she accepted it shyly. The ice had begun to break. Lily giggled as she lined up the cars, her small laugh filling the room with a sense of innocence and joy. Hannah watched quietly, only intervening when necessary, and made small comments that encouraged her without overwhelming her. Meanwhile, back at the office, the father was still reeling from the earlier panic. He had been juggling conference calls, emails, and messages, trying to focus on work while the image of Lily at the wrong daycare lingered in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling of guilt. He prided himself on being organized, on having control over everything, but this morning had reminded him that even the most careful planning could go wrong. He checked his watch for the third time that hour, realizing it was almost time to pick Lily up. He called Hannah's number, which he had gotten from the receptionist, and heard her calm voice on the other end. She reassured him that Lily was fine, happy, and had already begun making friends. Relief washed over him, though he still felt slightly embarrassed by his mistake. As he drove to the daycare, he thought about Hannah. There was something in the way she spoke to Lily that made him pause. In his world of deadlines, meetings, and contracts, he rarely encountered such patience and warmth. It was refreshing and a little unexpected, though he didn't know it yet. It was the first moment he would notice her presence in a way that mattered. Inside the daycare, Lily was in the middle of an imaginative game with a few other children. They had turned a small table into a pretend restaurant, and Lily was the chef. She took her role seriously, arranging toy dishes, calling out orders, and serving her friends with a sense of pride. Hannah observed from a nearby corner, occasionally guiding a child who needed help or offering suggestions with a smile. She had a way of making the children feel confident and included, and Lily was responding beautifully to her guidance. Lily's laughter rang out again, catching Hannah's attention. She walked over and crouched beside her. "You're doing a wonderful job, Lily. I can see you really care about your restaurant," she said, smiling. Lily beamed, proud of the compliment. "Thank you. I love cooking for my friends," she said, with the innocence only a child could carry. Hannah laughed softly, her presence gentle and reassuring. She noticed the little things, the way Lily's eyes lit up when she successfully completed a task, how she shared her toys without being asked, and how quickly she adapted to the new environment, despite being away from her father. Hannah admired children who were bright, sensitive, and curious, and Lily fit that description perfectly. When the father arrived, he found himself a little nervous. He wasn't used to being late or having to face someone he hadn't planned to meet in a professional context. As he stepped inside, the smell of crayons and snacks mixed with laughter greeted him. His eyes quickly found Lily, who ran toward him with open arms, her face glowing with happiness. "Daddy, look at my drawing," she exclaimed, holding up a paper covered in colorful shapes and squiggles. He smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "It's beautiful, Lily. You're very talented," he said, hugging her tightly. Then he noticed Hannah standing nearby, her expression calm and welcoming. She introduced herself properly this time. "Hi, I'm Hannah. Lily has been doing wonderfully today. She's very creative and a joy to have here," she said, extending her hand. The father shook her hand, feeling a little awkward but also strangely relieved. She had handled the situation perfectly, and her calm presence was a stark contrast to the hectic morning he had just experienced. He found himself noticing small details, the way her hair fell softly around her face, the warmth in her eyes, and the genuine smile she offered. It was the kind of presence that made people feel at ease, and he realized he had not encountered it in a long time. "Thank you for taking care of her," he said sincerely. "I'm sorry for the confusion this morning." "It was my mistake entirely." Hannah waved it off, her voice still gentle. "Don't worry. These things happen. Lily is a bright and adaptable little girl. It was a pleasure having her here." They walked outside together, Lily holding her father's hand while Hannah lingered slightly behind, ensuring she was safely collected. The father felt a small pang of regret for not having met someone like Hannah sooner. Someone who could understand children and bring such calm into a chaotic day. Over the next few days, the father found himself thinking about Hannah. He started planning his schedule more carefully to ensure that if any mistakes happened again, Lily would be safe and happy. He also noticed that he looked forward to seeing Hannah during pickups, intrigued by her kindness and patience. It was unusual for him, being a man used to control and efficiency, to find someone who could slow him down and make him consider the human side of life. Meanwhile, Lily thrived. She started talking about Hannah at home, describing the games she played, the songs they sang, and the friends she made. Her father listened with a mixture of pride and curiosity. He realized that Hannah had a positive influence on his daughter in just a short amount of time. The more he heard about Lily's day, the more he admired the woman who had cared for her so attentively. One afternoon, as he picked Lily up, he found himself chatting more with Hannah than before. They discussed Lily's progress, her likes and dislikes, and even shared small stories from their own lives. He discovered that Hannah was passionate about helping children, had a calm and patient nature, and genuinely cared about making each child feel valued and understood. Her presence was soothing, a gentle reminder of the simpler joys of life that often got lost in his busy world. As they spoke, He realized how easy it was to talk to her. There was no judgment, no pretense, just genuine conversation. For the first time in a long while, he felt a connection with someone outside of work. It was unexpected, but it felt right. Lily, ever perceptive, seemed to sense the budding connection. She smiled at Hannah and tugged gently at her father's hand. "Daddy, Hannah is nice. Can I come here again tomorrow?" she asked, her eyes wide with hope. He smiled, looking at Hannah. "I think that would be a great idea," he said, his tone softening. Hannah smiled back, a genuine warm smile that reached her eyes. "We'd love to have her here any time," she said. That evening, as the father drove home with Lily asleep in the back seat, he reflected on the day. What had started as a mistake had turned into something unexpectedly positive. Lily had been happy. He had met someone remarkable. And the day had reminded him that life wasn't just about schedules, meetings, or efficiency. It was also about connection, care, and moments of genuine human warmth. He glanced in the rearview mirror at Lily's peaceful face and made a silent promise to himself. He would make more time for her, for moments like these, and perhaps even for himself. There was something about Hannah that intrigued him, a reminder that life could surprise him in ways he never anticipated. And for the first time in a long time, he felt a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, this accidental morning had set the stage for something truly meaningful. The next morning began with the usual rush, though the father felt a little different. The events of the previous day lingered in his mind. The mistake of sending Lily to the wrong daycare had brought unexpected lessons and, most surprisingly, a new connection he hadn't anticipated. He hurried through his morning routine, making sure Lily had her breakfast, packed her bag, and was dressed in her favorite outfit. She was excited to go back to the daycare she had enjoyed the day before. "Daddy, can we sing our song on the way?" Lily asked, bouncing on her heels, her energy contagious. "Of course, Lily," he replied with a genuine smile. He realized that these small moments mattered more than he had given them credit for. They drove together, singing a silly song Lily had made up, laughing at their own voices. The father felt lighter, more connected to her in a way that his busy mornings rarely allowed. When they arrived at the daycare, Hannah was already at the entrance, smiling warmly as she saw them approach. "Good morning, Lily. Welcome back," Hannah said, bending down to greet her. Lily ran into her arms for a quick hug, then held onto the father's hand. "Daddy, can I play with the castle today?" Lily asked eagerly, pointing toward a corner of the room filled with building blocks and toy figurines. Hannah nodded. "Of course, let's set it up together." As Lily got busy, the father watched her from a distance. She was completely absorbed, building towers, arranging figurines, and creating stories that brought the little castle to life. Hannah interacted with her gently, asking questions that encouraged Lily's imagination and applauding her creativity. The father noticed how patient and attentive she was, allowing Lily to explore on her own while guiding her subtly when needed. While he observed, he realized that he had been missing these kinds of moments in his own life. Business meetings, contracts, and deadlines often consumed him, leaving little space for genuine connection. Watching Hannah interact with Lily reminded him of the value of patience, compassion, and presence. He felt an unexpected warmth toward her, appreciating how naturally she seemed to care, not just about Lily but about all the children in the room. Throughout the morning, the father and Hannah shared brief conversations, discussing Lily's interests and her progress. Each interaction was short yet meaningful. He began to see her not only as someone who cared for his daughter, but as a person with a kind heart and thoughtful nature. Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the fast-paced, often stressful world he was used to, and it intrigued him. At lunch, Lily sat at a small table with her new friends, enjoying her meal while the father and Hannah watched nearby. She was laughing, chatting, and sharing snacks with the other children. The father felt a mix of relief and pride. He had worried about sending her to a different place, but it was clear that she was thriving under Hannah's guidance. He realized that sometimes mistakes led to positive outcomes, lessons, and connections that might never have happened otherwise. After lunch, Hannah guided Lily and a few other children to a quiet corner for story time. She read aloud, using expressive voices and engaging the children with questions about the story. The father stood nearby listening, and was struck by how effortlessly she held their attention. It was clear that she was not only experienced but genuinely passionate about her work. The father felt admiration building in him, mixed with a curiosity he hadn't experienced in a long time. The afternoon brought more play and activities. Hannah organized a small art project, encouraging each child to express themselves freely. Lily painted with bright colors, her creativity flowing, and Hannah praised her work, highlighting the unique aspects of her art. The father watched, impressed by the way Hannah nurtured individuality while maintaining a sense of structure and care. As the day progressed, the father found himself lingering, finding small ways to be involved without being intrusive. He helped pass out materials, offered a few suggestions, and even joined Lily in building a block tower. Hannah's presence remained steady and welcoming, making him feel comfortable even in this unfamiliar setting. He noticed that Lily's happiness seemed to reflect Hannah's influence, a reminder of how impactful genuine care and attention could be. During a brief moment, the father and Hannah had a chance to talk privately. He thanked her again for taking care of Lily and for handling the previous day's mix-up so gracefully. Hannah smiled and reassured him that it was her pleasure, that children like Lily made her job rewarding and meaningful. "She's a wonderful little girl," Hannah said softly. "It's easy to see how much she means to you." The father nodded, feeling a warmth in his chest. "She does more than anything, and I can see she's in good hands with you." Their conversation lingered on small details, the little things that mattered in children's lives, their habits, and their joys. Each word exchanged built a subtle connection, a shared understanding that went beyond the surface. The father realized that Hannah wasn't just someone caring for his daughter. She was someone he could respect, trust, and perhaps even rely on emotionally, in a way he hadn't experienced in years. As the day came to an end, the father prepared to take Lily home. He noticed how she hugged Hannah, saying goodbye with a smile and a promise to return the next day. He felt a sense of gratitude, realizing that what started as a mistake, the accidental drop-off, had led to a positive experience for his daughter and had introduced him to someone remarkable. On the drive home, Lily chattered excitedly about her day, describing the stories, the games, and the art projects. The father listened, genuinely engaged, and responded with interest and encouragement. He realized that being present and attentive to these moments brought a kind of satisfaction that no business success could match. That evening, he found himself reflecting on the events of the past few days. Hannah's presence in Lily's life was already making a difference, not just for his daughter, but for him as well. Her patience, kindness, and gentle guidance were qualities he admired deeply. He felt a quiet hope that perhaps this accidental encounter could grow into something meaningful, something beyond the professional and practical concerns that usually dominated his life. The father also noticed changes in himself. He was more aware of the value of time, of connection, and of nurturing relationships. Watching Lily thrive and witnessing Hannah's influence had reminded him of the human side of life, something he often overlooked in his focus on work. He began to see the importance of slowing down, paying attention, and appreciating the small, meaningful moments. Over the next few days, the routine continued, but with subtle changes. The father made more time to engage with Lily during mornings and evenings, listening to her stories and participating in her activities. He found himself looking forward to the times he could speak with Hannah, learning more about her life, her experiences, and the passion she had for helping children. Each interaction was a small step, building trust, respect, and a growing connection. One afternoon, during a particularly imaginative game involving building blocks and pretend castles, the father noticed how naturally Lily included other children and how Hannah encouraged cooperation and creativity without being controlling. He felt a sense of admiration for Hannah's approach, realizing that her influence extended beyond individual care to fostering a positive, nurturing environment for all the children. The father's respect and appreciation for Hannah grew with each passing day. Her presence was calming, her guidance thoughtful, and her ability to connect with children inspiring. He began to understand that her role in Lily's life was not just practical, but transformative. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, he found himself curious about her beyond the daycare setting, intrigued by her warmth, intelligence, and genuine care. As the afternoon ended and Lily prepared to leave, the father thanked Hannah again. "I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything you do for her," he said earnestly. Hannah smiled, her eyes reflecting understanding and kindness. "It's my pleasure. She's a wonderful little girl and I enjoy spending time with her." They shared a quiet moment, a mutual acknowledgement of respect and appreciation that went beyond words. The father felt a subtle connection, a feeling that perhaps this was just the beginning of something significant. On the drive home, Lily talked excitedly about her day, her stories full of color, imagination, and joy. The father listened attentively, feeling a sense of contentment and hope that he hadn't felt in a long time. He realized that this accidental morning, which had seemed like a simple mistake, had opened a door to experiences, relationships, and lessons he might never have encountered otherwise. As he tucked Lily into bed that evening, he reflected on the day. He felt grateful for the unexpected turns life had taken, for the chance to witness Lily's happiness, and for the presence of someone like Hannah in their lives. He knew that this was only the beginning, that the connections being formed now would shape their future in ways he couldn't yet fully understand. But for the first time in a long time, he felt a quiet excitement about the days to come, hopeful that life, with all its unpredictability, could bring joy, growth, and meaningful connections in the most unexpected ways. Days passed, and what had started as a simple mistake became a routine filled with unexpected joy. The father had adjusted his schedule to spend more time with Lily, taking care to be present during pickups and drop-offs at the daycare. Each interaction with Hannah, the woman who had cared for his daughter so gently, deepened his appreciation for her patience and kindness. She had a way of noticing the little things, the small victories in Lily's day, and celebrating them as if they were her own. Lily was thriving. She had made friends, learned new games, and was more confident than ever before. The father observed these changes with pride and sometimes a touch of amazement. His daughter's growth was inseparable from Hannah's guidance, and he couldn't help but feel gratitude for her presence in their lives. One afternoon, the father arrived a little early to pick up Lily. He found Hannah helping a small group of children with an art project. The room was filled with laughter, colors, and the occasional squeal of excitement. Lily was carefully painting a picture of a tree, adding small details that showed her creativity. Hannah knelt beside her, offering suggestions gently without taking control, letting Lily lead the activity herself. The father watched, noticing the way Hannah's calm demeanor influenced the children around her. She wasn't just instructing them. She was guiding, nurturing, and inspiring them. It was clear that her care went beyond duty. It was genuine. He felt a mixture of admiration and curiosity, realizing that her presence was having a positive effect, not only on Lily but on all the children in the room. When Lily saw her father, she ran to him, hugging him tightly. "Daddy, look at my tree," she exclaimed, pointing to the painting. He looked genuinely impressed. The colors were bright and the details were intricate for a 4-year-old. "It's beautiful, Lily. You're very talented," he said, ruffling her hair. Hannah smiled at the exchange, noticing the warmth between father and daughter. They walked together to the car, and on the way they talked more than usual. The father found himself opening up to Hannah, sharing small details about his life, his work, and the challenges of being a single parent. She listened with genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions that encouraged him to share without pressure. Her curiosity was gentle and her understanding was evident. Over the next few days, the father started noticing patterns. Hannah had an intuitive way of reading children, anticipating their needs before they spoke. She encouraged independence but was always ready to support them when needed. He found himself learning from her approach, applying some of her patience and understanding to his own interactions with Lily. One day, a small incident occurred that highlighted Hannah's calm and collected nature. During playtime, one child accidentally knocked over another's block tower. The child began to cry, frustrated and embarrassed. Hannah approached, kneeling down to the child's level. She spoke softly, acknowledging the child's feelings and guiding them to rebuild the tower together. The father observed, impressed. His world was usually fast-paced, filled with quick decisions and urgent matters. Watching Hannah handle the situation with calm patience made him reflect on his own life. He realized that sometimes the most important lessons came from observing how others handled moments of tension and emotion. He also noticed that Lily had become more confident and expressive since being around Hannah. She shared her thoughts freely, played cooperatively with other children, and handled minor conflicts with increasing maturity. It was a subtle transformation, but one that spoke volumes about the influence of positive guidance and nurturing. During another pickup, the father and Hannah had a longer conversation. They spoke about childhood experiences, the importance of nurturing curiosity, and the small moments that shaped their perspectives. Each word exchange deepened the sense of connection, revealing common values and a shared understanding of what mattered most. The father found himself thinking about Hannah, not just as someone who cared for his daughter, but as someone whose presence brought calm and insight into his own life. He realized that his initial admiration had grown into genuine respect and curiosity about who she was beyond the daycare. One evening, after dropping Lily home, the father reflected on the day. He thought about the laughter, the creativity, and the patience he had witnessed at the daycare. He considered how Hannah's guidance had helped Lily grow, how her approach to life and children had influenced him, and how much he valued her presence. It was clear that this accidental encounter had turned into something meaningful, a subtle yet powerful force in their lives. Over time, the father began to notice small ways in which he wanted to engage more. He started asking Hannah for advice on activities at home, small ways to encourage Lily's creativity and independence. Each interaction was natural, filled with warmth, and built trust. Hannah responded with gentle guidance, always focusing on what was best for Lily. One afternoon, as they were preparing to leave the daycare, a small emergency occurred. A child had scraped a knee while running, and the other children were anxious. Hannah calmly managed the situation, cleaning the scrape and reassuring the child while maintaining order in the room. The father observed, deeply impressed by her composure and the way she made everyone feel safe. He realized that true care wasn't just about teaching. It was about presence, empathy, and calmness under pressure. Lily hugged Hannah before leaving, whispering a small thank you. The father felt a swell of gratitude, recognizing that these interactions were shaping his daughter in ways that he could never have done alone. He understood that Hannah was not just a caregiver, but a positive influence, someone whose values and approach to life complemented his own in unexpected ways. The father's appreciation for Hannah continued to grow. He found himself looking forward to seeing her, sharing small conversations and learning from her insights. It wasn't just about practical matters. It was about connection, understanding, and respect. He realized that her influence extended beyond the daycare, subtly shaping the way he approached life, parenthood, and relationships. As the weeks went by, the father noticed a change in himself. He was more patient, more attentive, and more reflective. Watching Hannah interact with the children and listening to her advice had given him a new perspective on life. He began to prioritize meaningful moments over efficiency, connection over speed. Lily continued to thrive, her laughter and creativity a constant reminder of the positive environment Hannah had created. The father found joy in seeing his daughter happy, in participating in small moments of play, and in appreciating the subtle ways that care and attention could transform a child's experience. One evening, as he tucked Lily into bed, she hugged him tightly and whispered, "I love going to daycare with Hannah. She's nice, and I like learning new things." The father smiled, feeling a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. He knew that what had started as a simple mistake, sending Lily to the wrong daycare, had turned into a blessing, introducing them to someone whose presence enriched their lives in ways he had never anticipated. He reflected on the journey so far, realizing that life had a way of guiding people to the right place at the right time. Hannah's kindness, patience, and understanding had not only helped Lily grow, but it also brought unexpected warmth and insight into his own life. It was a lesson he would carry forward, a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections come when least expected, and that genuine care could change lives in subtle yet powerful ways. The weeks turned into months, and the small accidental mistake that had brought them all together became a steady rhythm in their lives. The father noticed how much Lily had grown, not just in height but in confidence, imagination, and kindness. Each day she came home with stories, laughter, and artwork that told of adventures she had in her new world with Hannah. Her joy was infectious, filling the father's home with a light he hadn't realized had been missing. Hannah's presence remained constant and comforting. She had become more than just a caregiver to Lily. She was a guide, a mentor, and someone who had earned the father's deep respect. Her patience and genuine interest in the children's development had shown him how subtle acts of care could shape a child's world. He often found himself reflecting on her approach, considering how to incorporate the same thoughtfulness into his own parenting. One afternoon, the father decided to stay at the daycare for a while, wanting to see how Lily interacted with her friends and teachers. He watched as she laughed and collaborated on a group project, building a miniature village from blocks and craft supplies. Hannah guided the children with quiet suggestions, never taking over, letting them express their creativity freely. The father noticed how naturally she encouraged cooperation and problem-solving, praising effort rather than just results. He admired her ability to see each child's strengths and nurture them without pressure. After the activity, Hannah invited the father to join them for a small snack break. Lily sat between them, chatting excitedly about her day. The father listened, truly present, asking questions and engaging with her stories. He realized that these moments, small, ordinary, yet full of attention, were more fulfilling than any business success or accomplishment he had achieved. Hannah's calm presence allowed him to slow down, to appreciate these experiences fully, and to be a better parent. As the months passed, their interactions with Hannah became more personal. They shared stories about their own childhoods, their passions, and their perspectives on life. The father found himself drawn to her wisdom, her kindness, and her ability to see the best in others. He felt a growing admiration and curiosity, a desire to know her beyond the daycare environment. It was a connection built on respect, trust, and shared values, nurtured through small acts of attention and care. One day, a small challenge arose. Lily had a minor accident while playing in the playground, and the father rushed over to comfort her. Hannah was already there, calmly attending to the situation, reassuring Lily and making sure she felt safe. The father observed her composed and nurturing approach, realizing how much he had come to rely on her presence. It was in moments like these that he truly appreciated the depth of her impact, not only on Lily but on him as well. After the incident, as they walked back inside, the father thanked Hannah sincerely. "I don't know what I would do without you. You've made such a difference in Lily's life, and in mine too," he said, his voice filled with genuine gratitude. Hannah smiled, a soft, understanding smile. "It's my pleasure. Lily is a wonderful little girl, and I enjoy seeing her grow and explore, and it's nice to see how much you care about her." Their eyes met for a moment, and the father felt a quiet connection that went beyond words. There was trust, respect, and a subtle recognition of shared understanding. He realized that their bond was growing, strengthened by the everyday moments they had shared, the laughter, the challenges, and the small triumphs of Lily's development. Over time, he began inviting Hannah to join them for occasional activities outside the daycare. They went on short walks with Lily, visited a nearby park, and shared small family moments. Each interaction allowed them to know each other better, deepening their connection naturally and without pressure. Hannah's presence brought warmth and balance to his life, a reminder that relationships could be nurtured through kindness, attention, and shared experiences. The father also noticed changes in himself. He became more patient, more attentive, and more reflective. He was learning to value presence over productivity, connection over speed. Watching Hannah with Lily had taught him that care and attention could transform lives in subtle, yet meaningful ways. He found himself appreciating the small victories, the laughter, and the quiet moments that made life rich and fulfilling. One afternoon, as they left the daycare together, Lily skipped ahead, laughing and pointing at a butterfly. The father and Hannah walked behind her, talking softly about the day, sharing thoughts and learning more about each other. There was a comfort in their conversation, a natural ease that had developed over time. They laughed, exchanged stories, and shared small insights, building a relationship rooted in respect, care, and understanding. Back at home, the father reflected on the journey that had begun with a simple mistake. Sending Lily to the wrong daycare had seemed like a minor error at the time, but it had led to profound changes in their lives. Lily was thriving. He had learned to slow down and appreciate the important things, and he had met someone whose presence brought warmth, insight, and joy into his world. He realized that life often worked in unexpected ways. Sometimes accidents led to blessings, and small missteps opened doors to meaningful connections. Hannah's patience, kindness, and understanding had not only shaped Lily's experiences but had also taught him valuable lessons about parenting, connection, and the importance of presence. As the evening settled in, he watched Lily play with her toys, her laughter filling the room. He glanced at Hannah, who had joined them for a short visit, smiling as she observed Lily's creativity. In that moment, he felt a quiet sense of gratitude and hope. The accidental morning that had seemed like a simple mistake had turned into a gift, a new chapter in their lives, filled with connection, growth, and the promise of meaningful relationships. He knew that this was just the beginning. The bond between Lily, himself, and Hannah had grown naturally, strengthened by shared experiences, mutual respect, and genuine care. The father felt a quiet excitement for the future, ready to embrace whatever came next with an open heart. As they said goodbye for the evening, the father felt a sense of calm and contentment. He knew that life had a way of guiding people to the right place at the right time. Hannah's presence, Lily's happiness, and the lessons learned along the way were a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections were unexpected, born out of chance and nurtured through kindness and attention. He looked at Hannah, smiled, and said, "Thank you for everything. You've changed our lives in ways I can't fully explain." Hannah returned the smile, her eyes warm and sincere. "It's been a joy to watch Lily grow and to be a part of her life. And it's wonderful to see how much you care about her." The father felt a deep sense of connection and hope. He knew that their journey together was just beginning, that the accidental morning had led to something extraordinary. With Lily's laughter filling the room and Hannah's presence bringing warmth and balance, he realized that life's surprises often brought the greatest gifts. And for the first time in a long time, he felt ready to embrace those gifts fully, with gratitude, hope, and an open heart. The start of a new season brought fresh experiences for Lily, her father, and Hannah. Autumn had arrived, painting the town with warm colors, and the daycare had embraced the season with themed activities and crafts. The father noticed that Lily seemed even more energetic, excited to explore the changing world outside as well as the vibrant environment inside her classroom. Hannah had planned a small outdoor activity where the children could collect fallen leaves, observe their colors, and create leaf collages. Lily's eyes sparkled as she ran around the yard, picking up leaves of different shapes and sizes. The father followed her, taking photos of her excitement and laughter. Hannah moved among the children with ease, engaging each one individually, encouraging them to share their discoveries and express their creativity. Watching her, the father realized again just how much patience and skill went into her work. It wasn't only about managing children, it was about inspiring them, making each child feel important and helping them discover joy in the simplest moments. He felt gratitude for her presence in their lives, not only for Lily's sake, but for his own understanding of what truly mattered. During the activity, Lily proudly showed her father the biggest, most colorful leaf she had found. "Look, Daddy, it's perfect for my collage," she said, holding it up with wide eyes. "It's beautiful, Lily," he said, smiling, and added, "You have a great eye for colors and shapes. Hannah has been teaching you well, hasn't she?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "She helps me a lot. And she's so nice." Hannah smiled from a short distance away, her expression gentle and approving. She had a way of encouraging children to notice their own progress, fostering confidence without even needing words. The father appreciated her skill even more, seeing how natural it seemed for her to balance guidance with freedom. As the weeks passed, the father noticed that he was beginning to look forward to these moments more than he had expected. The accidental drop-off that had seemed stressful at first now seemed like a turning point, one that had brought Lily happiness and introduced him to someone he had come to admire deeply. His interactions with Hannah had grown from polite conversation into meaningful exchanges, each revealing layers of her kindness, intelligence, and thoughtfulness. One morning, he arrived slightly earlier than usual to pick Lily up. Hannah was setting up a storytelling circle, and the children were already gathered around. Lily waved excitedly when she saw him, showing him a small handmade puppet she had created. The father joined them, sitting on the floor, fully immersed in the activity. Hannah narrated the story with lively expressions, involving the children as much as possible. She asked questions, encouraged them to contribute ideas, and guided the story to incorporate their creativity. The father was impressed by how naturally she engaged the children, balancing structure with freedom and nurturing imagination with gentle guidance. After the story, Hannah invited the father to help with a small project. They were making a mural representing the changing seasons, and each child had contributed their own piece. The father assisted Lily with arranging her leaf collage onto the larger mural. Hannah moved around them, offering tips and encouragement while letting the children lead their contributions. The father realized he enjoyed these shared moments more than he expected. He was learning alongside Lily, observing her growth and gaining a deeper understanding of the way Hannah interacted with children. He noticed subtle lessons in patience, observation, and empathy, all demonstrated through her actions. Later that week, a small challenge arose. A new child had joined the daycare, feeling nervous and shy. The father watched as Hannah approached the child with calm warmth, kneeling down and speaking softly. She encouraged Lily and the other children to include the new child in activities, showing them how to be welcoming without forcing the child. Lily watched intently. Her father noticed and then instinctively joined in, offering a toy to the new child. The father felt a swell of pride, seeing how much she had learned from Hannah, not just academically or creatively, but in how to be kind, inclusive, and empathetic. That evening, as the father tucked Lily into bed, she recounted her day in detail, highlighting the fun, the crafts, and the story. "Daddy, Hannah is the best. I like her so much. She makes everything fun and easy," Lily said, her eyes bright with excitement. He smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. "I'm glad you enjoy your time with her, Lily. She's a very special person, and I'm grateful she's in our lives." As the season progressed, the father found more ways to involve himself in Lily's development. He began preparing small activities at home inspired by Hannah's approach. He noticed that by slowing down and paying attention, he could help Lily explore her creativity and problem-solving skills. The father was surprised at how rewarding these moments were, realizing that he had underestimated the impact of presence, patience, and engagement. Meanwhile, his interactions with Hannah deepened. They shared stories of childhood experiences, exchanged thoughts on parenting, and discussed hobbies and interests. The conversations flowed naturally without pretense, and he found himself appreciating the depth of her insight and the sincerity of her care. It was clear that she had a positive influence not only on Lily but on him as well, teaching lessons through her actions and words. One day, while preparing for a seasonal craft activity, Hannah asked the father to share a story from his own childhood. He hesitated at first, unused to opening up, but Hannah's warm and patient demeanor encouraged him to share. As he told the story, he noticed Lily listening with rapt attention and Hannah nodding supportively. The father felt a sense of connection and trust, realizing that these shared moments were deepening the bond between them all. Through small acts, stories, crafts, games, and conversations, the father, Lily, and Hannah were forming a rhythm that felt natural and supportive. He observed how Hannah's gentle guidance helped children navigate challenges, express themselves, and grow in confidence. He also recognized how her influence extended to him, teaching him to slow down, notice the little things, and appreciate moments that previously seemed insignificant.